welcome back to Shantae and the Seven Sirens. We're making our way back after finishing the second dungeon and getting our refresh dance, which also makes the game a little too easy because it gives you hearts back.
Wait, you have a healing dance now?
Yeah.
It's supposed to do things like sprout flowers and stuff, but it does give you 2 hearts of health back.
It sprouts flowers. It converts undead enemies into living creatures, what I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, and it cures poison water.
Yes.
Wait.
There's a lot of different situations that all of the dances can do.
So could like you use this around Rowdy Tops and bring her back to life?
No. That would be an amazing attention to detail.
Which would also,
But
like,
unfortunately,
screw the lore in half.
I know, but what is that like alternate, like a different alternate storyline that just immediately opened right then and there?
But there's just a lot of cool details, like these jellyfish guys. If you do the dance that corresponds with their color, a different thing will happen. Like, one of them will always give you their monster card. I think if you do the refresh dance, they always drop, like, a full health or a full magic heal or something like that. It's ridiculous how
I never got I never got the idea to do that.
You do it for a trophy as well.
One of the
Okay.
NPCs tells you to do it, but I never would have thought to do it either.
Yeah, you know what? It's weird, and it's gonna be a weird ass pull, but for some reason I thought it was like a really fucking obscure Link's Awakening DX reference. With the color dungeon had enemies where if you struck them, they changed colors. You know, because we can do that with the Game Boy Color. Ooh.
Wow, the 90s were really a boring time.
The tubes don't lead here. I think you're cheating.
I like those
It's called
tubes.
editing.
I know that they don't do anything, but for some reason I just find them really cool. Like, I don't know. A lot of games have those kinds of rooms.
I love and hate them at the same time because once you give me a dance that shakes the screen violently, I'm now doing on all those tubes.
Oh, I ignored every tube.
Thinking it's a Super Metroid reference. One of these is going to break. Come on, one of these is going to break. I'm
Nope.
going to go outside in the ocean. Nope, never happens.
Who's this?
Some random guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lickety split on the double. Do not pass Joe and collect rent as they say.
What?
The submarine acts as a way to get to the bottom half of the area first. After you get the frog ability, though, you don't need them anymore.
Yeah. There's also
and the
warps
warp
in
room.
here.
Yeah, the warps too. I think there's at least 2. That makes them make the submarine a non-issue. It's just for a storyline.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess because this is we're going to submerge now, and then we're going to have that little sequence. Yeah, so we're talking about in earlier parts where this game lacks set pieces, and this one gets pretty close. It's more of a story beat though, because nothing really happens gameplay wise.
Welcome aboard the metal fish.
You couldn't have thought of a more inventive name for that?
I mean,
It's to the point.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I like these guys. They're maybe not the most interesting, but they have
I'd like to
some-
see them come back as like mimic assistants.
Yeah, that would be cool. I also love the music in the upcoming areas, like the lab and then the
third dungeon.
Yeah, those songs are. What do the kids call them now? A jam, a jelly, a peanut butter and jam. I do not know. I am not hip with the kids, as they say.
This mix is wiggity wiggity whack.
Yes, that is the official term, as they call it.
Turn on some CNC Music Factory.
You don't have to worry about sinking to the bottom of the ocean, Shantae. You can transform into a fish. Or
Not yet.
Not yet.
oh, stop losing your powers.
I lost my Foxy Grandma privileges a year ago.
What happened to all the transformations she had in Half Genie Hero, by the way?
Yeah.
This
They
is
just
the
call-
only game with no explanation at all. Because,
In Risky's Revenge, they specifically say that she got lazy and forgot them.
which is
Yeah.
a really fun.
I mean, but who's to say though that that's not just the case here again?
Yeah, but
Maybe
at least they
something
said it out
magic to
loud in Risky's Revenge as a joke.
And then at least, Pirate's Curse, she lost her powers. What's the other one? Half Genie Hero, she just got them back. So, that's something.
Yeah. Well,
Loading.
I mean,
Now, who's ready for the return of the best character in the franchise?
which one is that?
As soon as the door opens.
Well, the dog you murdered in Rescue's Revenge, obviously.
Which is canon, by the way.
Yeah, which is canon. I just love the fact that you find that dog in hell.
Squid Baron.
I love Squid Baron so goddamn much.
I
want a plushie of
I
him.
like how she's all like Squid Baron, like she's meeting her arch nemesis.
I'm really annoyed though that you don't. This is the first game in the series since he's appeared where you don't actually fight him, and it makes me sad.
What?
Yeah, you don't fight him. It's really
No,
sad.
no, I was saying what to what he just said.
Yeah, that's basically Shantae's response the entire time too. Is just like, what?
This is a part of where I wish that the game would have just went full-fledged with the voice acting and all that, because this is something I actually probably took me until part 6 to talk about, but this thing does the Hatching Hero thing where it only voices some lines, and I don't understand that. Like, why not just have everything voiced?
Yeah, I wish they would.
Budget,
Do that,
I
too.
guess, time, but
I suppose. Oh, I mean, but if you know if you're only going to have the money for like certain lines, just don't do it at all. 'Cause I find it so distracting.
I mean, the annoying thing for me is that
You
they,
got
the
a
Dagron.
Dagron ball.
What the hell?
Dagron ball.
Dagron ball Q.
Dagron Brawl Z.
Oh, the Canadian version.
The thing that they do with the voice acting that annoys me though is that they do the thing where, you know, they'll have someone say the line, like something like, "We've got to stop Risky," is what's written on the screen, but then Shantae will say in the voice acting, "We've got to take Risky down," or something like that, where
Yeah.
it's basically the same line but slightly different, and that always really annoys me.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. Like that extent, it bothers me too. But I just don't like the fact that some lines are voiced, others are not, because it just makes it sound broken. It's like, is there something wrong with my game? Is something not loading particularly? It's like, no, it's deliberate. Just, but I really wish it wasn't.
I mean, I'm okay with certain, with like having the
I would have liked
small
it if
voice clips or whatever. Where
I don't
they're
mind
just like
small-
Sky or Bolo. I don't mind that, but full
I don't
lines
mind
for some things and not for others is a little weird.
I don't mind small voice clips for like unimportant stuff where like again if you're just checking up on Sky or Bolo during the middle of the game for no reason.
Yeah,
That's fine, but for like important cutscenes like when she's talking to Risky or during a boss or something, those should be fully voices. For some-
yeah. Because I know it'd probably be too much to have everything in an animated cutscene. You know, because
Budget.
you're asking way too much money for this company. At the same time, though, I feel like that probably just would have been the better bet if they had the money for it. Just put everything in a cutscene.
Are all the dungeons underwater?
Well, the entire area is underwater.
Yeah, so the whole city is like underground, basically. Like the whole labyrinth system is below the water, effectively. I mean, so not all of them have the same underwater aesthetic, but a couple of them do.
But there's always like at least one room where you can see some mermaid thing swimming in the background looking in at you.
Yeah, everything where you go down is technically underwater or in like the ground of the island.
Yeah. Because the sunken city, I think is just what it's called
Yeah.
in its entirety. You know, it's funny because this game not only goes back to the Metroidvania style, but it is the game that reminded me a lot of Metroid. Actually, I think this is the closest this ever gets to a Shantae Metroid compromise, given the subterranean design.
You're not wrong.
Or it could be, or it just could be the tubes. Maybe it's just that shallow. It's like, no, stop lying, John. It's just the tubes you're thinking about.
Shantae is more complicated than that. It's not just a truck that you dump characters onto. It's a series of tubes.
Oh, that's a reference I didn't think I would hear anytime soon.
Seriously.
What is that a reference to?
I thought the oldest we're gonna get was MTV Liquid Television.
That was the series of tubes is from a politician who doesn't understand how the internet works.
This was like from this might have been the 80s even. It was at least the 90s. But yeah, it's
Basically, the internet isn't something you just dump it onto. It's a series of tubes. It's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
oh, more innocent days that I miss to some extent.
No, you don't.
I mean, considering the
Oh,
world
the
we live
days
in
where
right now.
the days where I didn't have to pay attention to that shit because I was a kid.
You say that now, but if you could actually go back in time and relive those years, you'd be bored to tears because all the cool stuff that we have now would be gone.
Hey, man, there's still like Super Nintendo games.
I rest
the
my
90s.
fucking case.
Yeah, the 90s has SNES Classic XLs.
And it plays all the games.
Yeah.
Each sold separately, $79.99.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's how much that certain games were back then. Like especially
Well,
Yeah,
Star
so,
Fox.
The Super FX games in particular were really bad.
yeah. Like I think I remember seeing an ad.
Fun
that, like,
and riveting.
You've got the
God damn.
Dagron balls.
I was kind of hoping Dagron would come back, but it's just a reference.
I really want to see how they translate that into the other languages. Like, I really want to know how they do that in, like, Japanese or whatever. Because, I don't know, misspelling something intentionally is just my favorite gag.
in Japanese, I think the Dragon Balls are actually just called Dragon Balls in English. I mean, it would be pronounced all Englishy, but it would be spelled the same way.
Oh, this is, like, the best dialogue right now.
The 3 Dagron balls. Good thing I already have them. The mark of the champ.
It's
And that's what you're confused about, Shantae.
I mean, it is pretty confusing.
We did it.
You delivered.
The quest is fulfilled. That's the game. He is always gold whenever he's on screen.
He's just the best character.
That's not my favorite line, though. My favorite dialogue with him is later. Like, it's after the dungeon after this.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We don't want to spoil Lewis so we can have this reaction.
No.
Okay.
Very chiptune dungeon track.
Oh, this is my favorite track in the game, and there's no good extended version on YouTube, so hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Also, every version I can find has like all the whirring of the
Oh
background
yeah, like
stuff.
the kind of, which is
Oh, no. Way Forward has the official
The
soundtrack
official
up there.
soundtrack.
yeah, but not
that makes
extended,
yeah.
so that I can listen to it for 3 hours while I do
Oh,
other
just
shit.
hit the loop button. Don't know, just put it on loop.
That sounds hard.
Under
That sounds like a lot of work.
undersea volcanoes. Oh no.
So, actually, hearing the soundtrack like that brought me back to, like, the mid-2000s early YouTube style, where, like, they didn't really have good music rips on YouTube. And so I remember specifically looking up New Super Mario Brothers OST, and they didn't have a good way to record the soundtrack other than just having Mario stand there in the room. So when they were recording the Bowser Jr. boss music, they had to like run away and stuff from the attacks so that they could get a long enough music
So
clip.
they're game rips, basically.
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
just,
pretty
like,
much.
directly
And
ripping
so,
it,
and so you just hear, instead of the music, you just hear the footsteps in from Bowser Jr.
God, I remember. I remember
it's
that
great.
with replaced that with Mario Galaxy, because before that official soundtrack was ever given, a torrent, because it was never given an American release. I would have to rely on game rips from within the game itself, and I really liked the Bowser theme in that when you're fighting it.
Oh yeah, that thing's
But-
great.
But there's sound effects all over the place.
Yeah, you just hear the Starbit sound effect over and over.
Starbit
and over
sound
again.
effects,
Yep.
Bowser breathing, and all that sort of
Punching
shit.
and all
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh man, life was hard back in the day. You had to beat the game and unlock the sound
You know,
effect.
yeah, you know what, Ted? You're right. I'm so glad life is much easier now.
Back in the day, you had to beat the game and unlock the sound test if you wanted. If you wanted to hear all that.
And some games even had to get like CDs in each level to get the music track.
Ugh, gross.
On the bright side, on PlayStation, if you put the game disc into your CD player, it functions as a soundtrack.
Unless if you try to play track 1 and then it fucking
Only
destroyed your
only
ears.
for the non-sequenced music though. Like if they had music that played off the sound off the console sound card, it wouldn't be music track on the disc.
Yeah, that's so weird. You know what like the oddest experience I had with that was actually Brave Fencer Musashi. Because Brave Fencer Musashi, if you put it in as
Why
a
did I
CD
know you were going to do Brave Fencer Musashi?
Well, because that's the only they immediately came up because it's the only game I could think of that did something like this.
Because it's either John making a Brave Fencer Musashi reference or Lewis making
Right.
a Legacy of Kain
Devil May
reference.
Cry or Legacy of Kain, Devil May Cry reference.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we've already had both of them, so I just need to bring up Dragon
because-
Quest and the trifecta will be complete.
Normally, games at least in the PS1 era had like Easter egg songs if you decided to put it in a CD player. For some reason, though, Brave Fencer Musashi had a select number of songs from within the game itself, but that's it. Like, it's just a select number of songs. They weren't like hidden Easter eggs or anything like that. They were just songs from the game. But it's like, there's only like, why? It's only like 3 songs.
Those are the
in it.
songs that the game had CD quality audio for.
I suppose so.
It would play those audio files when those came out. One good example of how this works is actually Sonic CD, where all of the past music was sequenced, which
Yeah, it was this in the. That's why they were the same in the Japanese
Yeah.
and American versions.
it's also why, like, if you were to play the game on an emulator, you can like fully customize the soundtrack to your heart's content, except for the past songs. You can just swap in whatever audio track you want.
Yeah, 'cause I think it was all Red Book audio. The same goes for Rondo of Blood.
Nowadays, games have like a more organized way of incorporating sound data. So even if they're using like audio files, it won't be a track on the CD. It'll be a file within the game's folders.
It also has often its own proprietary compression stuff
Yeah.
going on as well because games.
Well,
have-
especially sorry, go on.
No, that was just done pretty much.
Yeah, I was going to say games also have a lot of things now for more quote-unquote cinematic experiences where they'll have like 10 different versions of a track. That loads
that's right.
That loads different things in and out depending on what's going on.
Yeah, dynamic music and all.
That's apparent.
And that was really fun. Like, I think my favorite thing about when Sonic Generations was originally released, before the official soundtrack version of that game came out, YouTube playlists were just like, all right, boss version 2, boss pinch mode. It with like 3 different extended remixes of it. It was like, wow. It's like, okay, I guess I want to listen to the Death Egg Robot with more percussion.
or slightly faster.
Or slightly faster, yeah. Which is weird because, you know, in this day and age where a lot of soundtracks have that sort of dynamic variance, you find yourself liking specific parts of the song more than the beginning or the ending of it. But when you buy the soundtrack version of it, they're usually all mixed together in like in a sequential order. But you end up not liking the whole song because of that, because you only like certain parts of the mix.
Yeah, that's me and Airbuster from Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, really?
I mean, they're all great tracks, but it's like there are certain parts of the song that I like better during one phase of the fight versus other phases of the other parts of the fight.
Right.
And it's basically impossible to get a version of the song I like that incorporates those versions in one.
Yeah, because in a way the songs are telling a story.
Yeah.
But it's like I like this part of the story more than that part of the story.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear the kissing part. Does this part have kissing in it?
Oh, Airbuster, I love you so much.
Okay, so for some
Your
reason,
power cores are so big.
when you say Airbuster, I immediately think of Air Bud, and I'm just like, you can't, the rules don't specifically say that a dog can't be a half genie.
Well, you know, it's funny because you think of the dog. I just think of a vacuum cleaner for some reason.
Yeah, like the Dustbusters.
The Airbuster from Dyson.
Now a turbo suck action.
So we're playing Mighty Switch Force again, huh?
Yes.
This is Mighty Switch Force. I never
We still haven't gotten our Mighty Switch Force 3 with Postman Patty.
seriously. Way forward, hire us. We're gold. We're freaking geniuses. But yeah, this is probably my favorite dungeon in the game. I would say.
It's the longest one, actually.
Aside from the last one, which is less a dungeon. and more
The last
like a
one's not
gauntlet.
really even a dungeon. Yeah.
It's
No, it's just a gauntlet.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet, which is it's typical for Shantae last areas anyway, because
That's just how they work.
Well, actually, this game does it twice because the second to last dungeon is a gauntlet and the final dungeon is a gauntlet.
well,
too.
I thought that the second,
in a different sense.
in a different sense, I took the second to last dungeon as a callback to the battle tower from Risky's Revenge.
Yeah, that's what I thought of too.
So demanding.
But yeah, this area, I think it just has the most interesting puzzles, the best music, and the best power-up because the tortoise is redonkulous.
Shame.
Oh, she's that bitch.
I mean,
She is, yeah.
yeah, that's her character arc. I wonder how she got to be purple.
I'm
mean,
wondering
she
how
used to
much
be-
cigarettes that she smoked with her eyes are so yellow.
Also, does anyone else just find it a little bit weird that just thinking about their history, Risky has to be like close to 40?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not that weird. I mean, some people are into it.
No, more means she's like drawn like the same way that Shantae and her friends are, who are like 18, 19, 20.
That's just anime. That's just anime logic. Have you seen the image? Oh, this is years old, but it's the image where it's just anime women, and then
Yeah,
you
20s,
have,
30s, 40s, and then suddenly she changes it at like 45.
Yeah, and then she becomes the shriveled old grandma.
At like 80, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of anime art style. And I know Shantae isn't technically anime, but you know,
It's anime style, yeah.
yeah.
Anime-esque.
But I mean, they do some stuff to make Risky look older in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, every character has the exaggerated feminine aspects to it, but they're even more exaggerated with Risky. And I think generally, like, the way that her face is drawn implies that she's a little bit older.
Yeah, I was gonna say
she's the only one that wears makeup.
Well, it's not even the makeup. It's also more the bags under her eyes. Is the only thing that sort of connotate that she may be of older age. That's it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that the characters are drawn. With that said, though, I do think it's cool that the main villain in this series is like an older woman, because you don't get a lot of characters like that in games, like at all.
I mean, it makes sense that considering her age, she would be doing the traditional Ojo from anime oh ho 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 thing.
Yeah, because I'm struggling off the top of my head to think of major characters in
More so
games that are
more,
older women.
Well, more so middle-aged women, because there are
Yeah.
plenty of like old hag witch type villains.
How old was what the hell was her name in Wario Land?
Captain Syrup.
Captain Syrup. Yeah.
I mean, they're basically the same character.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
You will see you guys all in the next part of Shantae and the Seven Sirens.